Gotham episode 8, The Mask. This is a great action based episode. I think this episode had the most action out of any episode so far. But the main story I thought was actually really well done. The actual concept of it was interesting. We got to meet Sionis, which I thought was pretty cool. And just the whole story of it, where it's like this guy just hires people, like, business is war, so you have to basically fight to the death. And apparently it's not to the death, but I guess that just tends to be how it happens sometimes. So I love that. I thought it was really interesting, and it was cool to see this weird sort of businessman and the interaction he had with Gordon and the way they spoke to each other, and they both kind of knew each other, even though they had, of course, just met. But I love that scene. I thought it was really well done, and of course, it gave us the reveal that Sionis was, in fact, the guy with the mask, which was fairly obvious. It was the leader of everything because everyone in the office is just like bruised and beat up. It's like, okay, the one guy who's not is probably the one calling the shots. But it was a good episode. I really enjoyed that. I thought the fact that they had Bullock kind of deal with the rest of the cops, and they even had like the chief sort of kind of deal with herself. Really, I thought that was really well done, and how she spoke to Jim was like, even though you told me to leave, it doesn't really matter. I shouldn't have left because you're a cop and I'm a cop. I'm supposed to do the good thing, even if it's because like some crazy mob guy comes in with two hulked out strippers or something. It doesn't matter. I'm supposed to be there to help because I'm a cop. So I like that, and Bullock standing up for Jim was really good, even though Jim in this episode was, he didn't give a crap. It was like, you guys kind of abandoned me. That's fine. I'll get all the work done myself because I can't anyway because I'm a good cop. So I enjoyed that, and Jim's really working with him, or Bullock's really working with Jim, and he was just really trying. And I thought it was pretty good. Like in the beginning of the episode when they arrest the doctor, and then Alvarez comes in and he's like, "Hey, I have a deal with this guy." And Bullock was trying to be like the mediator. He was trying to balance everything out. Like, I'm on your team, Jim. Like, I proved that the whole Blaze of Glory stuff, but I'm trying to stay on everyone else's good side because they don't really hate me. So I'm trying to be the balance between really you and everyone else. And Jim was like, I can't do it. So I actually enjoyed that, where Bullock was trying to just have that moment with him, like, for my sake, can you just let this guy go? And Jim just couldn't do it. But Bullock still stood up for him. He's still there, and you can tell that he still cares about him as his partner. So I really thought that was cool, and him kind of just calling everyone out in the middle of the episode, like, hey, we're all cops. Like, I don't give a crap what you think about them. You're cops. You're supposed to do the right thing, like the chief has said herself, really. So I thought it was really good, and he kind of, especially with the chief kind of pitching in herself, it was like, all right, and everyone else had to stand up at that point. But I thought that was really good. I enjoyed that. The fight scene with Jim at the end, I thought was really cool. Like, he just beat up like three people and stuff. That was really cool, and just him taking them on, and then he takes on Sionis himself, like wearing a well, I don't think he was wearing the mask at that point, but he like had a katana and stuff, and he's dodging and countering and all this stuff. It was a really cool fight scene, and then everyone comes in at the end, and the chief was like looking around like, dang, like he just took out like four people by himself, and they're trying to like hit him with like all sorts of crazy supplies, and this guy comes in with a katana and stuff trying to slice him up, and he took everybody out. I thought it was pretty cool, but I love that. The stuff with Bruce I thought was pretty interesting. I thought it would have more of a focus on him, but it was actually a minor part of the episode. But the kid was a douche, and Alfred's pretty awesome. He was just like, all right, I'm gonna take you to this house, and you can just punch him in the face with the watch and hurt him really, really bad. And then the last thing I expected was for Alfred to actually just walk up to the porch with Bruce and be like, oh, look at that. Like, he did try to kill you, and I let him do that. So why don't you keep that in your head? I thought that was a really great scene. It's just like, yep, I let him do that. So remember me, remember this moment. He punched you in the face, and I just let it happen, like in front of your house. That's what I let happen. So I thought that was a cool moment, and Bruce talking about how he's always so angry and stuff, and how he enjoyed it, and Alfred was just like, yeah, like you would enjoy it because basically the kid was a douche. He deserved it, and that's Alfred. Like, I love this version of Alfred, and he's really cool. And we're gonna get to see him officially starting to train Bruce. Like, Bruce has had his little moments. Like, they had the little sparring match with like the Canes and stuff when they were really just playing around. He was kind of helping them out, and trying to get him through a little bit of stuff, but he wasn't exactly training him. He was just playing around with him to try to pick up his spirits. But now he's going to be officially training him, and we saw in the preview he was like in the pool. I guess that's just to like hold his breath as long as he can, all sorts of things. And I'm curious to see how they take the Alfred tutoring Bruce route, because I think pretty much every version of Alfred was in the army at some point, and you can easily tell that this Alfred is kind of still in the army mode in a sense. So I'm excited to see how they play that, because he's gonna be nice to Bruce, of course, but at the same time he's gonna be strict to him. So I think it'll be some pretty good banter, because even when they do normal stuff, it's always pretty funny to listen to Bruce and Alfred talk to each other. So I'm really excited to see how they do Bruce and Alfred actually training together. I think that'll be interesting to see. And we got Selena in this episode, who I feel like I don't think she's been in episodes like 3 or 4 episodes, but she came in this episode, pretty much got busted. I actually liked her introduction in this episode. She's just like throwing like coats and stuff. Like she just came out the sewers and she's just like tossing mink coats and purses up in the air, and it's just like, oh, busted. So she's gonna be in next week's episode. She's gonna be somehow she gets from the police station to Bruce's house, so we're gonna get to see them interact with each other in next week's episode. So I'm really excited for that. They're gonna finally meet up as kids, and maybe she'll train him in some odd ways where she's of course not really trying to train him, but it's like, I was there, and she may or may not actually reveal that. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not like, I don't really have a guess as to whether or not it would be too important if she did say it, so we'll have to wait and see. But I feel like she's gonna have a couple of lessons to teach Bruce himself that she didn't exactly plan on teaching him, but based on her living the way she does, there's a lot of things that of course she knows that Bruce has zero experience with, so he'll learn some stuff from her too, depending on how long the interaction is. But I enjoyed this episode. We also got to see a lot more Enigma in this one, and I liked him in this one. We got to see him, like, basically we got to hear him get cut off in one joke, because I believe it was Jim he was talking to. It might have been Bullock, but they just like walked off in the middle. We got to hear him do the silly joke when he was basically pretending to be the examiner, which I thought was interesting. I didn't realize that that wasn't his job, and it was weird that it wasn't, because he's the one who examines the bodies, and I don't really know how police work, so I guess being like the CSI person isn't the same as the examiner, so I guess that does kind of make sense. But he's in there, he's finding stuff out, and apparently the actual examiner doesn't do his job too well. So I thought that was funny. He called him like a sloppy ignoramus at the end when he was leaving out. But we got to see more of him, and I thought it was good in this episode. I feel like they didn't do as much in the other episode, where they were really focusing on him and kind of giving him his first real, chance in the spotlight and during an episode, and it wasn't just like, oh, here he is for maybe a minute long. He was actually throughout the episode, and once again, he helped out a little, and he found out that there were, things that coincided with other cases in past years. So it was really cool. We get to see more of him helping out, and in this case, no one asked for his help, like in the other one where Bullock told Jim, like, hey, give it to Enigma. He's great with riddles and puzzles. And this one, he was just kind of admittedly just being weird, and he was doing a job he wasn't technically supposed to do, and he found out some good stuff. So I enjoyed that. I'm excited to see more of Enigma and sort of just doing his job, really. Like, him being weird with the woman I thought was definitely funny, but for some reason I actually enjoy him just being, Edward Enigma, just being smart and figuring out all these different things. And I guess that's because it kind of makes him more like the Riddler when he does that, even though he's not, trying to blow people up or anything. So it's still more like the Riddler, because he's just doing certain, really smart things, like, oh, I found this and I found that, which I know because he's probably done this multiple times, which the guy even said he did. I know that this guy, the actual examiner, would be too stupid to find, so I'm going to do it myself because I'm much smarter. So I enjoyed that. And overall, I think this was a really great episode. It didn't focus too much on anything. Like, even the main story had, like, another story within it, where we got to see, the stuff with Bullock trying to help Jim out. We got the stuff with Mooney, which I thought was pretty well done. She's got the papers. I don't know what's in the papers. Maybe it's just business stuff. I have to assume it's a ledger. That's typically what ledgers are for. So I have to assume it's some sort of business stuff, like transitions or acquisitions, sorry, that Falcone is trying to make, just made, or some really big ones he might even have hidden. So we're gonna get to see that play out. Also, Penguin found out that the girl that Mooney has in there, he at least knows someone is close to Falcone, so she's gonna get caught at some point. And of course, the promise Mooney made to the girl, like I'll never let anything happen to you. As soon as she said that, I was like, she's toast. I was like, as soon as she promised that, I was like, she's gonna die somehow, or she'll at least get caught. She might not die just because of the show being on Fox, really, but they could easily kill someone. I mean, they kill off a ton of random people. It'd be pretty interesting if they killed off someone who's at least slightly important. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. I was really excited when they had Mooney tell the girl the story, like how it was one of Falcone's men who killed her mother, and then unfortunately we find out that that was all a lie. Personally, I think it would have been cooler if that was the story and it was just she was just so focused on revenge, like just against Falcone in general. It's like if it wasn't for you being this giant mob boss, that wouldn't have happened to begin with, and that would be sort of her mindset of things. But it was really all just a lie, and there is something that happened. I feel it wasn't she just wanted to be powerful, and maybe it is. I'm hoping it is just some sort of crazy thing where something did happen to her. It just makes it a little bit more interesting, but for now, she kind of lied, and I think we all have to assume that the old woman was her mother. But yeah, and that would also explain why she had her singing, because I thought that was really weird. Like, she's not trying to hire her, is she? Because I thought that was really weird. But I enjoyed the episode. I can't wait to see how things play out with the mob stuff, because Penguin's gonna tell Falcone like there's someone in there. I can kind of guess he'll think, oh, it's the very last person that I, like the newest person I met, and it's probably this random girl. So she's gonna be in danger fairly soon. I have to think, but we get Harvey Dent in next week's episode, so I'm excited for that. It'll be pretty cool just to see his introduction into the series and him long before he becomes Two Face. So it'll be like good Harvey Dent just trying to do his job, and him and Jim are kind of the two that always work together, of course, until Harvey becomes Two Face. But I'm excited to see how that plays out, and I love the episode. Of course, comment below, let me know what you guys thought about this one, your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And with Harvey Dent coming in, he's one of the new big characters that everyone knows from the franchise. But who do you guys want to see in this series? I mean, we have like all the speculations of characters that are supposed to be coming in. Like Doctor Strange is supposed to come in once they really get more into the Arkham Asylum stuff. But what characters do you guys want to see come in, I guess, in their younger states? Comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.